It is a sign of my marital covenant with my husband. Shalom, peace and blessings. Welcome back to Jonathan's house. I wanted to make this video speaking about my nose ring, why I have it, and some of the do's and don'ts that I experienced while having it. My husband wanted me to get this nose piercing as a sign of our marital covenant. And I'm just going to read some scriptures. Genesis chapter 24 and verse 47, it says, "And I asked her and said, Whose daughter art thou? And she said, The daughter of Bethuel, Nahor's son, who Milcah bare unto him. And I put the earring upon her face and the bracelets upon her hand." And when you do a translation of the word earring, earring in Hebrew means nose ring. And then the translation of face in the Hebrew means nose or nostril. In this particular chapter, in Genesis chapter 24, Abraham's servant went looking for a wife for Isaac. When he found Rebekah, as mentioned in the scriptures, he put the bracelets on her hands and put the earrings upon her face. So we see here that our forefathers gave these jewels and earrings and bracelets as a bride price or as a covenant with a promise to marry. So our foremothers and our forefathers, they did have jewels and jewelry. Another scripture, Ezekiel chapter 16 and verse 8, and I'm just going to start at verse 8, and it says, "Now when I passed by thee and looked upon thee, behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swore unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee, saith the Most High Yah, and thou becamest mine." Verse 9, "Then I washed thee with water, yea, I thoroughly washed away thy blood from thee and anointed thee with oil." Verse 10, "I clothed thee also with broidered work and showed thee with badger skin and girded thee about with fine linen, and I covered thee with silk." Verse 11, "I decked thee also with ornaments, and I put bracelets upon thine hands and a chain on thy neck." Verse 12, "And I put a jewel on thy forehead and earrings in thine ears and a beautiful crown upon thine head." This is the reason my husband entered the covenant with me and wanted to display it with this nose ring. It is a cultural thing. Our foremothers wore it. Our forefathers gave it. Isaiah 61 and 10, it says, "I will greatly rejoice in the Most High. My soul shall be joyful in my Yah, for he hath clothed me with the garments of salvation. He hath covered me with the robe of righteousness, as a bridegroom decketh himself with ornaments, and as a bride adorneth herself with her jewels." It is a part of our heritage, our culture. So everything done with a reason and a purpose here at Jonathan's house. So I am very proud and very blessed to wear this sign of our marital covenant. I've had this nose ring about 2.5 months now, and the piercer said that I should keep it clean, wash it with antibacterial soap. So I was doing that prior to us coming off grid. I was washing it, at least 3 times a day with the antibacterial soap. And once we transitioned off grid, not having the modern luxuries like running water or big bright lights that would help me see really well, I wasn't washing it 3 times a day. Although I was washing it daily, I developed a bump. When I did the research about this bump, I seen that it was pretty common. I watched a couple YouTube videos where sisters were saying that they used a sea salt soak and I did some research on Google, and it said to use some tea tree oil, that it would reduce the bump. So I used saline to wash it, and I used tea tree oil to reduce the bump, which did help tremendously. Some of the things that did cause it was I was fidgeting with it. I was moving it so that the opening of the ring would not be in the actual piercing hole. The twins, when I'm holding them, they're always throwing their hands everywhere, so they were knocking it. All these things irritated it, and learning to live with this new thing on my face, my hair was getting caught in it, when my clothes was getting caught in it. So all these things played a factor as to why it flared up and caused a bump. So for me, the saline solution works, getting back to cleansing it and keeping it clean. You don't have to do it 3 times a day, but you know, you should at least make sure that it's nice and clean on the regular. The tea tree oil did help. For some sisters, when I researched, they said that it did the opposite, that it made the bump grow bigger. So definitely do your research and find out what works for you. Some sisters use the sea salt soak that they said helped reduce it. I didn't. And a lot of patience. I got to the point where it was so ugly, it was irritating, it hurt, it was big and red, and it was just really unsightly to look at. I almost took my piercing out, but I remained patient and did my research, and you know, just continued to get back on track in keeping it clean, and that was helpful. So do be patient. So again, it is a sign of my marital covenant with my husband. I pray that this video is helpful to someone who has a nose piercing or thinking about getting it or had one. If you haven't already, do subscribe to our channel. We have really cool updates coming up soon with our homestead and the progress of that and how that's going. If you have any questions or comments, post them below. I do appreciate everyone that's watching. Until next time, shalom, peace, and blessings.